Ibrahim Traoré has become a beacon of hope and resilience, not just for Burkina Faso, but for the entire African continent. As the youngest president in Africa, his rise to power was not the result of privilege or political connections, but of an unwavering commitment to his people. For too long, Burkina Faso, like many African nations, had been led by those who prioritized their own gain and served the interests of foreign powers, rather than their own citizens. But Traoré chose a different path. He has rebuilt the military, revitalized key industries, reclaimed control of the country's vast gold reserves, and ensured that Burkina Faso itself reaps the benefits of its natural wealth. Many assume that a leader of his stature must have been born into affluence or political influence. But his story is one of struggle, perseverance, and an unbreakable connection to the people he serves. Just years ago, Traoré was an ordinary young boy growing up in hardship in a small village. Today, he stands as the head of a nation, leading it through one of the most defining periods in its history. But how did he get here? What obstacles did he face? And who are the people closest to him, the family that shaped him, the wife and children who stand by him? His journey is one that few expect. Born on March 14, 1988, in the modest town of Bondoukoui, in Burkina Faso's Mohun province, Traoré experienced firsthand the struggles of ordinary citizens. He grew up seeing his people work tirelessly, yet remain trapped in poverty. This early exposure to injustice planted the seeds of duty and responsibility in him from a young age. After completing primary school in his village, he moved to Bobo Dioulasso for his secondary education. There, he quickly stood out, not just for his intelligence, but for his discipline and strong sense of justice. Even as a student, leadership seemed to come naturally to him. In 2006, he enrolled at the University of Ouagadougou to study geology. But his university years were about far more than academics. He became active in student movements, joining the Marxist Association Nationale des Étudiants du Burkina, ANEB, and the Association of Muslim Students. He was a vocal advocate for social justice, student rights, and national sovereignty. His fearless stance against oppression earned him deep respect among his peers, foreshadowing the leader he would one day become. After completing his studies, he chose to serve his country by joining the military. It was here that his leadership abilities became even more apparent. His first major challenge came in 2014, when he was deployed to Mali as part of the United Nations peacekeeping mission. At just 26 years old, he found himself in one of Africa's most volatile conflict zones, facing extremist groups in northern Timbuktu. Many officers command from behind secure walls, but Traoré was different. He fought alongside his soldiers on the front lines. His courage, strategic intelligence, and ability to inspire his men under relentless pressure set him apart. Between 2019 and 2022, he played a crucial role in Burkina Faso's counter-terrorism operations, earning widespread recognition for his bravery. By 2020, he had risen to the rank of captain, and his influence within the military was undeniable. Despite his young age, he was respected by both his comrades and senior officers. But while Traoré fought battles in the field, he was also observing another war, one being waged against his people by their own government. He saw leaders who were supposed to protect their nation instead selling it off to the highest bidder. He saw foreign corporations exploit Burkina Faso's wealth, while ordinary citizens struggled. He saw an elite class growing richer, while terrorist attacks increased, insecurity spread, and basic needs went unmet. And he knew something had to change. That moment of realization set him on the path that would soon make him a leader, not just of soldiers, but of an entire nation. At just 34 years old, Ibrahim Traoré did what few dared to imagine. On September 30th, 2022, he led a military coup against Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba, shaking the foundations of Burkina Faso's political landscape. But unlike the many leaders who seize power for personal gain, Traoré's actions were driven by a higher purpose. He saw himself not as a ruler, but as a servant of his people. His fellow soldiers, weary of fighting a war without resources and frustrated by government failures, stood by his side, believing in his vision. His rise to power is more than just a story of a coup. It is the story of a young man who defied the odds and answered his nation's call in its darkest hour. But now, his greatest test lies ahead. Can he reshape Burkina Faso's future? How will the West respond to his defiance? And will he succeed in proving that Africa can chart its own path without external interference? This is a moment in history that demands attention. Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you find this story compelling, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more untold stories of Africa's rising leaders. Since taking office, Traoré has been both admired and criticized across Africa and beyond. From his very first speech, he acknowledged the skepticism surrounding his youth, stating, "I know I am younger than most of you here." He made it clear that the coup was not planned. It was a necessary response to a failing system. But while some leaders take years to act, Traoré wasted no time. He expelled French military forces from Burkina Faso, cut off long-standing security ties with the West, and forged new defense partnerships with Russia. To his supporters, these moves were a courageous stand against neocolonialism. To his critics, they were reckless decisions that could isolate the country. Yet, what truly sets Traoré apart is not just his bold policies, but his rejection of personal wealth, an almost unheard-of stance in African politics. Unlike those who enter office to amass fortunes, he refused the $76,000 presidential salary, opting to keep his modest military captain's pay of just $660 per month. He also slashed the salaries of ministers and high-ranking officials, redirecting the funds toward projects that would uplift his people: gold refineries, textile industries, education, and modernized agriculture. This was more than just a financial choice. It was a declaration that his leadership was about transformation, not self-enrichment. But as his reputation grows, so does the curiosity surrounding his personal life. Many wonder about his wife and children, yet there are no public records, no state appearances, and no photographs. Unlike most political figures who showcase their families in the media, Traoré has kept his loved ones entirely out of the spotlight. Some believe it's a personal choice, while others see it as a strategic. Numerous coup attempts, assassination threats, and relentless opposition he has faced since 2022. Keeping his family hidden could be a protective measure. History has shown that African leaders who challenge Western interests often face economic sabotage, political instability, and even orchestrated regime changes. Traoré understands this all too well. Revealing personal details could make his family targets of coercion, kidnapping, or worse. Even the question of whether he has children remains unanswered. If he does, his decision to shield them from public attention is likely a calculated move to ensure their safety. In a world where powerful forces will do anything to maintain control, even a leader's loved ones can be used as leverage. Ibrahim Traoré's journey is still unfolding, and the stakes are higher than ever. His leadership is more than just a political shift. It is a challenge to the old order, a symbol of what Africa can become when its leaders put their people before profit. The question now is, will others follow in his footsteps? Or will they continue to serve the interests of those who have exploited the continent for generations? Ibrahim Traoré stands apart as a leader who refuses to let power change his principles. While many politicians use their families as political assets or symbols of public sympathy, he has taken a different approach, one of complete privacy and unwavering focus on his mission. Whether or not he has a wife or children remains unknown, but one thing is certain: his leadership is not about personal gain. Nor will he allow his loved ones to become political pawns. This level of secrecy is not without reason. In a world where political opponents and foreign interests seek leverage wherever they can find it, Traoré understands that keeping his personal life out of the public eye is a form of protection. By ensuring that his family remains invisible to the media and political discourse, he removes a potential weakness that could be exploited to manipulate him. This deliberate choice allows him to lead with boldness, make tough decisions, and stand firm against powerful external forces without fear of personal blackmail or coercion. But at the end of the day, his legacy will not be measured by whether the public ever catches a glimpse of his family. His true impact will be defined by the changes he is bringing to Burkina Faso, the fight against corruption, the reclaiming of national resources, and his refusal to be a puppet of foreign interests. He represents a new kind of leadership, one that prioritizes the well-being of the people over wealth, luxury, and international approval. His journey is not about personal fame or comfort. It is about reshaping his country's future. And when you compare his story to that of the average Burkinabe citizen, it becomes even more inspiring. Despite rising to the highest office, he still chooses to live modestly, rejecting the trappings of power, refusing extravagant salaries, and directing national wealth toward development rather than personal enrichment. So, what do you think? Is Ibrahim Traoré the kind of leader that Africa needs? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this discussion, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more content on Africa's unfolding story. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.